Hey, good morning, guys. It is November 13th, and Chambers is in Galatians 2. Galatians 2 is an interesting chapter because it's where we see something that we don't see anywhere else in Scripture, which is this confrontation of the two most prominent figures of the early church, which are Peter and Paul. And Peter, who we know God sent to the Gentiles when he or at least he helped Peter understand his ministry to the Gentiles when he opened up this door with Cornelius, and Peter realized that the gospel was meant for not just the Jew but the Gentile as well. Paul comes and visits him, and in Galatians 2 he kind of confronts Peter. Not kind of confronts, he confronts him harshly. And it says he does it in front of everyone too, which is interesting, because Peter's being a hypocrite, and he is drawn away from the Gentiles when the Jews showed up. When Jewish believers showed up, um, he was, I don't know, embarrassed. Felt he was showing favoritism to the Jews over the Gentiles, and Paul rebukes him harshly. Anyway, in the midst of that, he's talking about Paul starts talking about salvation, what Jesus did for us, and one of the verses in 2:20, I'll read the whole thing. It says, "I've been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live." He's talking about the distinction between following the law and living under grace. I've been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. It's interesting. It's this this a little bit of a juxtaposition between him living in me and me living in him. It's kind of this interesting marriage that Paul talks about. Anyway, the who loved me and gave himself for me is where Chambers focuses his attention today. And he says, think who the New Testament says that Jesus Christ is, and then think of the despicable meanness or kind of lowliness of the miserable faith we have. And he says, like in the voice of the obnoxious Christian, Chambers does, I haven't had this and that experience. This idea that we deserve. I deserve to something more of God. Think what faith in Jesus Christ claims, that he can present us, and if we really have a true understanding of who we are, he can present this wretched man faultless before the throne of God, unutterably pure, absolutely rectified, and profoundly justified. The idea that Jesus could present me, a wretched sinner, before the throne of God, justified, is miraculous. And sometimes we get hung up on the small things. There's an old expression, keep the main thing the main thing. This is a really good reminder of that. Keep the main thing the main thing. Jesus is will present us one day before the throne of God, completely and utterly faultless. And he ends down here with, how can anyone who has identified with Jesus Christ suffer from doubt or fear? It's a good question. When we suffer with doubt or fear, it is a reflection of a lack of faith, obviously. But it doesn't make it any less likely for us to have this challenge, this temptation to suffer from doubt and fear. It's still something we all kind of have to push back against. It ought to be an absolute psalm of perfectly irrepressible, triumphant belief. That's what our faith should be. An absolute psalm of perfectly irrepressible, triumphant belief. I love the way Chambers speaks sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't make any good sense in modern language, in this old language, and other times it speaks in a way that modern language can't really address. So Anyway, you guys take that and live in the confidence that one day Jesus will present you faultless before the throne of God, which in itself is a miracle. Have an awesome day.